Good morning, folks. This is Pavan TT from Accenture Toastmasters Club, and I, as Neha already told you, will be presenting to you guys the practical aspects of infographics. Now, with all due respect to what Neha just taught you guys about executing your infographics and planning your infographics well, I personally feel that until and unless, no matter how much you learn, how many books you go through, how many sessions you attend, how much time you spend in front of your system, but the real work is done when you get your hands dirty coming out on the field. That is what I will do today to give you guys a clearer picture of infographics. I have divided my session into a very simple story of an IT employee, and I'll be using infographics in different aspects to give you a better picture of how you can use them. Because at the end of the day, I feel that learning without execution, as you can see, is like a problem without a solution. Now, Pavan is an IT employee. No, that's not me. Pavan is an IT employee in Delhi, the national capital region. He is like most of us, a software engineer with monotonous office timings of 9 to 6. Oh, I could see a wry smile on most of your faces. This person was so vexed up with his job that he decided to give an interview in another company the next day. He had to reach the company, which was in Hastinapur, by 9 a.m. in the morning. But little did the poor guy had an idea what's gonna happen ahead. Isn't this relatable to most of us? We need to go somewhere the next day, but our sleep habits or some other things act as a hindrance, and whole story changes in a matter of seconds. The guy did sleep, but he woke up 2 hours late at 11 a.m. in the morning. Now, what does he do? At this point, my dear friends, I collected some data from National Sleep Foundation's website using Google to find out the average sleep timings of different age groups. Now, how did I get an infographic in here? If I tell you that the average sleep timings of the age group 3 to 5 is this much, 6 to 12 is this much, 12 to 18 is this much, 18 to 25 is this much. You'll listen to the first two parts and you'll say everything else will go above your head. How infographics is helpful here is some 15 to 20 lines of text I've depicted in a single picture. That too in such a succinct way that the moment you look at the picture, you will be a very, what do they say, in an advantageous position. Now see, average sleeping time for the age group of 0 to 1. The minimum sleeping time I would say is 14 hours. 14 hours, my dear friends. 14 out of 24. And we all wanted to grow up once upon a time. Cherish all the moments as much as you can. The sleeping time for our age group 18 to 25, I won't say our, but most of the people who are attending the session today is 14, not 14, 7 hours a day. The half of what a toddler's is, 14 hours. Now coming back to a story, Pawan did wake up at 11. He got ready in a hurry, and little did he know how the situation was outside. We all know how the situation of National Capital Region is in the month of January. The average temperatures dipped to as low as 10 degrees Celsius, and this guy had to wake up early in the morning and go. Now, what I did here was I gathered the data of average temperatures of Delhi in different months starting September. Now, basically, if I tell you that average temperature of Delhi in September is this, average temperature of Delhi in October is this, in November is this, like the previous example, most of the data which I'll tell you will just go over your head. What I did here again is I used a different kind of infographic known as a curve to depict the average temperatures of Delhi starting from September. As you could see, the average temperature in September is somewhere near to 40, and at the same time, the average temperature of January month, as I told you, 10 degrees Celsius. Now, he did gather the courage to go out in 10 degrees Celsius of temperature just for the sake of a job, my dear friends. Earning a living isn't it everything these days? When climate and calamity are a tandem, here calamity means not just something natural but also this artificial man-made calamity called traffic. He had to start from Karol Bagh and reach his destination Hastinapur in a span of some 15 to 20 minutes. Little did he know what the situation was. He had to go through Barakhamba, Karol Bagh, and Vasant Vihar to reach Hastinapur. Rajiv Chowk, a resident of Delhi or someone who's visited Delhi at some point of time, must know or should know how exactly the situation is out there at any point of day. And then Barakhamba, very normal traffic, not nothing to worry about. But then the demon over here, Vasant Vihar. Look at the red zone out there on the pie chart. There, my dear friends, I come to the peach of this slide. I used a pie chart here to depict the traffic levels in different areas through which Pavan had to pass. Now, if I can use a pie chart for the most basic of these things, imagine how powerful can this infographic be. A pie chart can be used everywhere, my dear friends. Now, another usage of infographics, these pie charts, bar graphs, and curves, you might have heard at some point of time, even without me telling you these today. But this usage of infographics is something which even I wasn't aware of before preparing for this session. Did you ever imagine that an infographic can be used in preparing a profile for yourself? Let's see how it is done. Pawan used a tool called PictoChart online, and this is what he did. He put a picture of an owl as his display picture in the profile, and look what is written in the background. I don't want to embarrass him by reading it out for you. His favorite activity is sleeping, eating, sleeping. Who writes that in a profile, my dear friends? At the same time, see, he could have used better visuals down there, but he chose to use WhatsApp smileys to be precise, to depict some information about him. Who wants to know that he's been rejected by 5 companies? How exactly an infographic should be? An infographic profile should be, to be precise. I apologize for using my picture over here, but that's the best I could find on my desktop straight away. See the background information out there, how subtle and succinct it is. A techie with 2 years of experience in enterprise architecture and PPM, a certified competent communicator, which I'm not yet. Just for the sake of writing in this profile, I did that. You could see, ignore the deeper aspects of the profile. Now, look at the outline. A person gets to know what all languages I know, what all are the activities which I'm interested in, and some more basic information about me, about my hobbies or something. Ever imagine that an infographic can be used in such an effective way? Preparing a profile, perfect. A perfect replacement to the massive text profiles which we prefer these days. And imagine you being a recruiter, would you prefer such profiles? And on the other hand, you had infographics like these. Which one would you prefer? It's up to you. The decision is yours totally. It's feedback time, and let's see what people think of how did they feel. Esteemed individuals at Pakhandi IT firm. You can see the different types of questions asked over here, like how would you evaluate your interview experience? Did the interview start on time? And will you recommend us to your friends as an employer? This tool called PictoChart gives you a lot of options for creating infographics, like the pictures of these people and all these emoticons in the interview process thing, and at the same time the stars, the ratings thing, which you could see over here, and also the simple bar graphs. It's a congregation of all the tools required to make effective infographics like this. Now, coming back to our story, what exactly does this candidate feedback survey contain? You can see the first question, how would you evaluate your interview experience? It shows different kinds of emoticons. The first one is totally distraught, and the last one is totally excited. That shows you what exactly these emoticons are meant for. The first one is meant for giving a very bad rating to the interviewer, and at the same time, it increases gradually to 2, 3, 4, and the 5-star rating, the emoticon displays a very happy person. The interview process, how it was. In this, you see different icons which show very good, good, average, or boring, you can say, time taking, and not at all good. The same thing, we've used different colors to represent those bars, and we've described it at the bottom. In this way, you can use PictoChart to create effective infographics like this one, a candidate satisfaction survey, or you can also design posters or event invitations in this way. And after going home, now coming back to our story, Pavan went back and checked if unemployed and helpless people like him existed around the globe. What he did was he just took the help of an online search engine to check if what the unemployment rates are around the world. And he wasn't disappointed. A lot of people like him existed around the world. Now, this hasn't been taken from the internet. I used a tool called StatPlanet. I repeat, StatPlanet, StatPlanet, to design this infographic. StatPlanet gives you a macro with which you can edit the data in a given map template in the way you want. What I did was, this map template is given by default in the tool. All I did was I just edited the Excel sheet given along with it and placed the data of unemployment rates across the world from the World Bank website into this one. Now, whatever data you place in the Excel sheet is effectively expressed through maps like this. You can see the countries which are shaded in this dark blue color have an unemployment rate of greater than 11% of total population. So you can see that half of Africa, Middle East, and most of Europe. I was shocked to see these figures, that but you are saying it right, even Europe has a lot of unemployment. Let me show you some more examples. This is one more example of a map infographic, the same one which I told you, but this has been taken straight from the internet. What this Now this my infographic gives you information about the different places from which United States gets its oil. You can argue with me that this is the same, but yes, they are one and the same, but the way of representing both the infographics, this was my purpose of including these two here. The same information, oil imports of US, they can be either described in that more informative way or this, a succinct, more precise way with less fuss. You can see that most of the places are in and around the Middle East. I would leave the details for some other day, but the purpose of it was showing how map infographics can be used effectively. Now, this one is yet another usage of infographics, of showing you different details about what happens 1 hour after you drink a can of Coke. You can read the theory at a later part by just pausing the video, But this is one more way you can use infographics, describing things, giving more information about existing things in a better and a way that is very engaging, I would say. Generally, you call a person and tell him that Coca-Cola contains this, what this happens after 10 minutes, 1 hour, he won't listen to you. But that is that. Now let me show you a sample infographic of how it can be made. These are the infographics available in PowerPoint, XY curve, spice, bars, area, radar, bar charts and reports. What I did was I created a sample line, or you can say a curve, to just illustrate how I did this in the mercury levels example which I showed you earlier. You get a template like this which is similar to Excel. You just enter the name of the cities over here, or any indicator for which you want to draw a curve. At this point you can put the names of the cities over here, and you can use that column to indicate what information you want to depict. Here what I did was I used an example of stocks in this city, in these particular cities. There you can see. Now that the background isn't visible, I changed the background of this to a much more visible color. There you can see a beautiful way of depicting information. You could tell someone that these are the stocks of Mumbai, Hyderabad, and he'll be bored. Just show him this picture and he's very much engaged in the topic. Now to give you a gist of what other kind of infographics we have, let me illustrate another one for you. I draw an XY curve over here, and there comes the data which we always get. You can put one indicator on x-axis and the other on y-axis and tabulate whatever values you want. You can see that the chart changes dynamically based on the values you enter here. This can be used for a mathematical purpose also. Most of the time, all the equations, don't let me take you back to those 10th and 12th standard days. There you see, you can put any indicator on those axes and just present them beautifully in this way. Now to take you back to different kinds of, in this way you can make pies, bars, or the different kinds which we have in our PowerPoint. The purpose of me showing you this was to show you that you don't need to have an online tool to build whatever infographics you want. You can use the simplest of the open source tools in this world, Microsoft PowerPoint, to just illustrate what you learned and present it in an effective way. Now to summarize what